Pirez, and I'm an astrophysicist, and this is the origination of Neptune. So Neptune is the last planet from the Sun, the furthest planet from the Sun, and it's a blue gas giant. Now, there's a couple of things about how Neptune was formed and how it came to be and where it is in the solar system. And there's a brief explanation for all of this. And it all has to do with the early beginnings of the solar system and what happened to that planetesimal. So I will briefly talk about what a planetesimal is. So we believe that planets form from an early stage when they're in a molecular cloud with the sun forming, and then we also have these density spots. They're formed during collision, and they just get bigger and bigger, and eventually they get big enough to have a gravitational pull towards them, and they start collecting and accreting material. Now, this formation until you become big enough to actually start pulling things is called the planetesimal stage. Now, once you're a planetesimal, a lot of things can happen. So generally, this planetesimal clearly happened far away from the Sun, and one of the reasons that we can tell that is from the mean density of Neptune. Neptune actually is not a very dense planet. It's very diffused, actually. So the mean density, because it's low, we can tell that it formed in the outskirts. It sort of collected all the gases. That planetesimal started accreting all the gases once like most of the gas had left the solar nebula. So it just, but not all of it. So it was able to become a gas giant still, but not as dense as Jupiter or so forth. Another thing that happens is that we believe that this planetesimal was actually quite large. And the reason we believe this planetesimal was quite large is because of the heat flow and the structure of Neptune. So we had a large planetesimal, which is probably why it was able to acquire so much gas even further away from the Sun. Now, we also believe that it could have gone through some collisions. So if you lose, if the planetesimal, once established in orbit, loses mass, it can actually migrate further away from the Sun, because now the gravitational force, because it depends directly on the mass, has changed. So now the planet is able to migrate further from the Sun. And what happens here is that we've seen that Uranus and Neptune both are fairly far, like the distance between them in comparison to the distance between the other planets is very large. So we believe that the planetesimal may have gone through some collisions where it had lost some of the mass and actually migrated to the even further away from the Sun. So maybe loss of planetesimal mass. So this is how Neptune really came to be. This is how it got a low mean density. This is how it got to be so far away from the Sun and so forth. My name is Eylene Pirez, and I'm an astrophysicist, and this is the origination of Neptune.